Indian space effort has been specifically tailored towards enhancing the quality of life of the common man. India has made remarkable progress in developing the state-of-the-art space technology and its applications, which has become an important element of the national infrastructure. The space-enabled application programs of ISRO have played a vital role in benefiting the society and have brought in the societal transformation.
The Indian National Satellite System is one of the largest constellations of communication satellites in the Asia-Pacific region.
Gaining from the experimental satellites and applications of the 70s, the INSAT system evolved in the year 1983 with INSAT 1B in the orbit. Over the last 3 decades, we had 18 communication satellites, including the 8 satellites that are in operational service currently.
Today, India has capabilities in satellite communication that are comparable to the best in the world, providing a variety of services for telecommunications, broadcasting, DTH applications, weather monitoring, disaster warning, and data exchange for enabling economic activities. But our uniqueness lies in the applications of these satellites for societal programs like teleeducation, telemedicine, and village resource center that serve the common man.
GSAT-8 satellite that we are launching today would augment our communication capacity in Ku band with its 24 high-power transponders with footprint over the entire Indian landmass, including Andaman and Car Nicobar Islands. GSAT-8 carries a Gagan payload, also meant for satellite-based augmentation of GPS signals over India, for use by the Airports Authority of India. The entire design, development, realization, integration, simulation and testing of GSAT-8 is a testimony to India's technological maturity in this area. The Ku-band payload makes use of polarization-sensitive dual-gridded shaped reflectors, DGR, which is an indigenous effort. The development and testing of payload for GSAT-8 was carried out at Space Application Center of ISRO, and final integration of the payload with the satellite bus along with the satellite level testing was performed at ISRO Satellite Center. ISRO's satellite launch vehicles are capable to launch 1-ton and 2-ton category satellites from Satish Dhawan Space Center, Shahar, the spaceport of India. The new multi-purpose satellite, GSAT-8, is weighing more than 3 tons. This is one of the largest and heaviest satellites which ISRO has developed till date. The GSAT-8 satellite was airlifted from Bangalore to French Guiana, Kourou, for its launch on board Ariane 5. At French Guiana Spaceport, GSAT-8 successfully underwent the spacecraft-level checkout operations before its final integration to the launch vehicle. The upcoming GSAT-8 launch will continue India's long-term relationship with launch services provided by the Ariane.
GSAT-8 is scheduled to be launched on board Ariane 5 launcher in its VA202 flight.
Greetings, everybody, wherever you may be, and welcome once again to Kourou, the home of the Ariane family, for tonight's live broadcast of Arianespace flight number 202. Joshua Jampel here. It's the third launch of the year, as Jean-Yves Le Gall mentioned, but it's also the 58th Ariane 5 to be launched since the program began, and the 202nd Ariane in all. A double launch, passengers for Asia and India tonight, some old friends, and we're about 7 minutes and some seconds down to liftoff. And you're going to be hearing from this man in just a moment, the Range Operations Manager, calling out the entry into the final sequences.
Top, H0-7 minutes.
The DDO has just called out our beginning the 7-minute mark. That's a milestone. These are the final moments of the final countdowns called the synchronized sequence. Computers are taking over. We like to set the scene by introducing some of the major players making the mission possible tonight. In the Arianespace Flight Directorate, you saw Jean-Yves Le Gall, Patrick Loire, who's head of Arianespace in Kourou, and Edward Perez, who's the top technical person on the Ariane team. Of the main stage and the two boosters on either side, you can see that they both stand 30 to 31 meters tall. And then the upper stage, the upper composite, consisting of the upper stage and the vehicle equipment bay where the computers are, the launcher's brains and the navigation systems and the guidance systems, and at the very top the fairing, which you can see there with the logos, and inside the fairing are the two satellites. 2 minutes until launch now. We're going to zoom in on the upper stage. You see the yellow bars going across the center there. We're going to get a close-up of those in just a minute. These are the cryogenic feeder arms, the propellant feeder arms going into the upper stage. There's a split-screen image of it. Liquid hydrogen on the left, liquid oxygen on the right. That's the cryogenic fuel, the mix of those. Why do we do this? The upper stage needs to be refilled up until the very last minute because the cold propellant which we're using, and by cold I mean liquid oxygen minus 160 degrees, liquid hydrogen minus 240 degrees, that's cold. The computers give the order to light the two boosters, which is the point of no return. And we will be off. So watch for all that. Enjoy the liftoff. We'll be back shortly afterward.
Attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain, décollage.
Well, much better visibility than we dared hope for just maybe even an hour ago. It's been raining and overcast most of the day, but some fine shots at liftoff of Ariane roaring off the pad into the gray, trailing the gold plumes as she makes her way up into the sky over French Guiana. She took off right on time at 17:38 local time. These fine shots always very impressive. 775 tons at liftoff as Ariane leaves the ground. Most of that is fuel, as you will see. She'll start to shed that. The DDO is saying that everything is fine on board. Right now, she's burning 5 tons of fuel per second, 2.5 tons in each booster burning. That represents the major part of the boost. It's 90% of the acceleration and the power at liftoff. The core stage burning another 300 kilos per second. Roughly add up that altogether, it's roughly the equivalent to a dozen Airbuses. Ariane following now the program in the onboard computer, which has been installed, giving all the orders, including stage separations, which we'll begin to see just very shortly. We're in the first of 4 flight phases. The first 3 are powered. The last is not. We'll describe each in turn, so you can follow Ariane as she heads across the Atlantic, where she'll separate the 2 passengers over Africa. Right now, the first phase, the single core stage engine, it's called Vulcan, and the 2 boosters are burning. The boosters will burn for just over 2 minutes each, and in a few seconds you should hear the DDO call out their
Séparation des deux accélérateurs au point à poudre.
separation, and that comes right on time at about 68 kilometers up. This is what it looks like. There's another booster out of the camera range, but the two of them separated, they've done their job. They fall 500 kilometers away from shore in a protected area. French Guiana chosen partially for its large opening on the water, low risk for the nearby population. We're in the second flight phase now, the boosters having done their job. The core engine burning alone, it'll burn for about 9 minutes.
La trajectoire est normale.
The fairing separation is coming up next, and the DDO will be calling out that
Séparation des deux demi-coiffes.
And there it is, at 107 roughly kilometers. The fairing is in two halves. The other half is out of camera range on the other side. Blown away is the term because they're separated by two pyrotechnic cords. One is horizontal and one is vertical. The fairing is dropped now because it's done its job. What it does is protect the passengers from the vibrations and friction in the Earth's atmosphere. And above 100 kilometers, we don't need it anymore, so we can get rid of the dead weight. It's a ton or two. On the bottom left of your screen, the bottom two lines, you see kilometers. That's our altitude, 132. And the speed below that, kilometers per second. We're approaching 2.5 kilometers per second. The speed we need to inject satellites, roughly 9 kilometers per second, so keep your eyes on that. Back with more of the mission. Don't go away, but for right now, the latest news from Arianespace. On April 22nd, Ariane successfully lifted two new
European space agencies will have kicked into high gear, but we are in the launch process and not there yet. Therefore, we must prove that we're able to build a launch pad for Soyuz in French Guiana, but also that we're also able to do business in a field as complex as that of space technology.
The historic Soyuz has 1,770 launches to its credit, spanning over 50 years. But it has an even brighter future here in French Guiana as a key member of the Ariane family.
Today is a very important day for Arianespace because we are going to start the exploitation of the Soyuz in French Guiana launch system. And this will give us a very competitive advantage because we will have the capability to launch all the satellites of all our customers. Today, Ariane 5 is a king of this market, but Ariane 5 is devoted to the launch of big satellites, and with Soyuz we will be able to launch all the medium-sized satellites on every orbit, and this will give us a very competitive advantage, allowing
India has made remarkable progress in developing the state-of-the-art space technology and its applications, which has become an important element of the national testimony to India's technological maturity in this area.
And revenues. The company's extensive experience, organizational structure, and scale have allowed it to form major business partnerships with international telecom operators. Chunghwa Telecom endeavors to provide all-round information and communication service. We continue to receive favorable evaluations from professional observers. Chunghwa Telecom's main services include mobile communications with a tight-knit network, allowing customers more mobile lives. Data communications, bringing the world to customers and adding value to life. Fixed network communications, making life better on a foundation of stability. Enterprise services, providing optimal solutions, meeting every need. In order to satisfy the needs of the domestic market and develop potential overseas markets, we have again teamed up with Singapore Telecommunications to jointly invest in development of the ST-2 satellite. The superior features of the ST-2 satellite will enable us to continue to provide superior voice, data, and video service.
To transform the way our customers live and work.
We have now been picked up by our final tracking station in Kenya at a place called Malindi, which will see the satellite separations. All is going perfectly on schedule. We're awaiting now the extinction of the upper stage, due to come about 2451, roughly, you should be hearing the DDO call out that extinction cutoff command of the upper stage, and then we'll be out of the powered flight phases.
Extinction du moteur HM7B sur commande de guidage.
And there it is, right on time, coming at about 9,800 kilometers up, roughly. Again, the order given on the onboard computer. You saw the nozzle shutting down there. We're in the fourth flight phase.
Début de la manœuvre d'orientation au profit du satellite ST-2.
Before we explain the fourth flight phase, a film on Arianespace and its collaboration with ST-2.
Arianespace's offices in Tokyo and Singapore give it a strong presence in Southeast Asia, even in tough economic times.
Arianespace has always got privileged relationships with...
We have 6 versions of it. We're using the largest version, about 6.5 meters tall, tonight. Lets us carry the second passenger. The separation of the Silda came right on time at about 1,330 kilometers. On the outside of the launcher are a series of thrusters, and you might see them popping on and off. It's not propulsion, it's just moving in the pitch and the roll maneuvers to move the satellite. Our final film on post-separation activities for GSAT.
After separation, Master Control Center at Asan, South India, will take the responsibility of the operational and issuing the commands. By the help of the network spread over the entire globe, it will deploy the solar array and the communication payload antenna. Afterwards, payload and housekeeping systems will be checked thoroughly, and by the middle of June 2011, spacecraft will be put into service.
We are in the middle of the ballistics phase.
Follow us, let me salute SingTel, CEO in Singapore, and many others down there in Singapore, Taipei, Tokyo, Bangalore, and New Delhi, and other regions of the world. Great launch. Successes will continue as this one. Since of this launch, 3 other Ariane 5 launches are planned in 2011, to which we'll add those of Soyuz and Vega. Let me pay tribute to those who contributed to this success. The member states of ESA and its executive, the CNES teams in France and Guyana, all our industrial partners across Europe, and of course, Arianespace operational team, obviously. Now, third launch of the year, we're on May 20th, and 2011 has started right last year at the same time. We had no launch of the first, was done on the 21st of this year. We are in mid-year.
One center, all Mio TV, all the website, especially our children, that amazing things do happen when we dream big. We have proven it today. So therefore, fear not to dream, and may your dream come true very soon. Thank you very much.
Mr. Laguerre and the Arianespace team, Mr. Sado and the Melcom team, Mr. Young and the SingTel and Optus team, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is T.F. Lin, the president of Chunghwa Telecom International Business Group. What a wonderful day today. We make it. My happiness about this successful launch is beyond all expression. On behalf of Chunghwa Telecom, I would like to thank
this successful mission. I'm extremely happy to announce that ISRO's master control facility at Hassan near Bangalore has confirmed the reception of signals from GSAT-8 and taken charge of the command and control of GSAT-8 immediately after its injection into the geostationary transfer orbit. GSAT-8 is one of the heaviest and high-power satellites that ISRO has ever built. This is another great moment for us, and also an apt state to accolade the diligence exhibited by the GSAT-8 project team. Of course, for the satellite, the next phase of the voyage would be more crucial. The user community in India are looking forward towards the operationalization of the 24 high-powered Ku-band transponders into the Indian national satellite system. It's also the embarking of space-based East. The communication payloads are then planned to be turned on, and this would be happening on June 1st. After a series of in-orbit testing of the payloads, it is nominally expected to operationalize the Ku-band transponders by beginning of July 2011.
4 Ku-band transponders for communication services and a Gagan payload, which will be used to augment the global positioning system services. While the Ku-band transponders will be helping in strengthening the direct-to-home television services, Gagan will boost the aircraft navigation facility.
The Indian communication and broadcasting satellite GSAT-8 has been successfully launched by a heavy-lift Ariane 5 launcher at 0208 hours on 21st May from Kourou in French Guiana. The satellite, weighing 3100 kg, is the heaviest Indian satellite to be launched. The satellite was hurled into a geosynchronous transfer orbit by the launcher. Now the mission controllers at the Master Control Facility at Hassan near Bangalore have taken control of the satellite and will be giving a series of commands over a week to nudge the satellite to its space home, the geostationary orbit, at a height of 36,000 kilometers above the equator.